If you want to be a great painter, you have to invest in paint. And similarly, if you want to be a great chef and eat healthy, you've got to invest in your pantry. You've got to stock your pantry. Hi, I'm John Immel, and I'm the director of Joyful Belly. And today we're going to learn about stocking your pantry. Stocking your pantry is pretty essential so that you don't get stuck without a healthy meal. You want to have certain ingredients on hand so you can make a recipe that you're inspired by in the cookbook. You don't want to rely on takeout food, so you want to keep your pantry and your fridge with, the basics so that you have all the tools you need to correct imbalances as well. Remember, your spice cabinet is your medicine cabinet in Ayurveda, and so you need to have some spices in there. So we want to talk about some of the basics that you might need to stock as you're getting started. Most important points is you're going to want minimally processed whole foods, and you also want a variety of the 6 tastes in your kitchen. And so the first step is to throw out certain foods. Just go through your kitchen and just throw out stuff that is not going to serve you. Refined flours, high fructose corn syrup, other kinds of highly processed foods, junk foods. When we go trick-or-treating for Halloween in my family, we may keep that candy around for a day or two, and then we just throw it all out. My kids, I don't want anyone to be, overly tempted. Yeah, we had some fun. We had a little bit of candy here and there, and we move on. Same thing with other junk foods, and they're not forbidden in our household, but we don't keep them hanging around either, so that we end up eating them if they're around. All right, then let's get started with our spice rack. Here's some spice rack basics: turmeric, cumin, cinnamon, cloves, hing or asafoetida, nutmeg, cardamom, fennel, ginger, black pepper, and fenugreek. That's just a short list of spices here. I once went home to visit my parents, and I looked through my mom's spice cabinet, and I found some celery seed, and I looked at the manufacture date. It was manufactured the same day I was born. I was like 37 at the time. So I realized that my mom had this celery seed in her spice rack for 37 years. I opened it, and it had never been opened before because the seal was still on the top. And this happens to people with their spice racks. I've seen this a lot, that their spice rack contains like family heirlooms in it, and so here's a rule of thumb: throw out any spice that you haven't used within 6 months. It's trash from a medicinal point of view anyway. So just keep it moving. That's why I like the bulk spice section at Whole Foods, is because I can buy very small quantities at a time, and I use them up. And so every 6 months, raid your spice rack and just throw it all out and start fresh again. So that way you're getting good quality, fresh ingredients all the time for your spices. I put in here some of the medicinal benefits, and of course on the Joyful Belly website you see a lot more info about spices. Ghee is an Ayurvedic pantry staple. It has a really high smoke point, great for cooking. Has a nice rich flavor. The French use it in their desserts. India uses it. Ayurveda people use it on everything. So ghee and coconut oil, by the way, are my favorite oils. I think ghee is so highly praised in Ayurveda because it has lots of great benefits, but also because in Hinduism, cows are sacred. Coconut oil has, just as many wonderful qualities as ghee. It has a high smoke point. It's a little lighter than ghee, and so actually I prefer it to ghee, and I often recommend it to my clients. But I love both. In the summer I'll use more coconut oil. In the winter I'll use more ghee. Ghee is made from purified butter. Basically, you heat the butter, and the difficult to digest milk solids are separated. And so ghee is this purified butter. It doesn't increase your cholesterol, doesn't aggravate kapha nearly as much as other oils do. And it has a pleasant taste. It doesn't overpower your dishes. And it's useful for improving fat metabolism, getting toxins out of your fat tissue. It's highly revered in Ayurveda. And as I said, I think it's a mixture of medicine, actual medicine, and religion there too. So we're going to provide a recipe for homemade ghee later in our cooking talks. Basmati rice. The classical texts refer to basmati as the king of all rices. It has a nice nutty flavor. I actually do prefer basmati to anything else because of the taste. And it is light. I mean, it is lighter than any other rice that I know of. And so I love it. It's grounding, nutritive. I love rice in general because it's so easy to digest. Calorie for calorie, it's just the easiest to digest. So a great staple, especially for convalescing patients, people recovering from an illness. Rice is very supportive because it's so easy. You can't give a convalescing patient bread. It's too difficult to digest. So if a person's weak and you need to rebuild them a little bit, start with rice. Brown rice is much harder to digest than white rice. I've had many clients that had huge healings just by going back to white rice. Yes, brown rice has superior nutritional qualities, but only if you can digest. You can't get those nutritional qualities unless you can digest it. So if you're having trouble with the brown rice, go back to the white. Mung beans are light, easy to digest, and they cleanse the digestive tract. That's why they're the preferred ingredient in khicheris. Of course, in khichdi, we're not going to use these green ones as you see pictured. We're going to use the split and shelled mung beans, which are actually yellow. When you take that green skin off, it's yellow underneath. That's what you want, is yellow mung dal. Not yellow split pea, yellow mung dal. There's a big difference between yellow split pea and yellow mung. Yellow split is much harder to digest, but the split yellow mung dal is easy to digest. So sometimes it's spelled M-O-O-N-G in the Korean grocery stores. Anyway, look for it under M-U-N-G, M-O-O-N-G. The astringent taste will tone your digestive organs and help purge mucus from the bowels. And also they have a lot of fiber. Any legume has a lot of fiber. So this is a staple in the Ayurvedic diet. My family eats that all the time. As I mentioned, I actually prefer coconut oil to ghee. And so it's sweet, it's cooling, it's anti-inflammatory, adds creaminess to cooking. Some people are allergic to coconut oil, and for them, they can't have it. Just be on the lookout if you have an allergy to coconut oil. But it has a high smoke point, long shelf life, so it's great. I love to make coconut butter too, just by taking coconut flakes and putting them in a blender for a little while, and you get a nice coconut butter. It's delicious. So limes, you need to have some sour in your kitchen. That's one of the 6 tastes, and it stimulates the secretion of saliva and digestive enzymes. Basically, gets all the fluids moving in your body. It's a vasodilator, stimulates all your exocrine glands, sweat glands, everything, by a gallbladder, etc. Because it stimulates the release of bile from the gallbladder, it does promote efficient fat digestion. So that's like those lime cheesecakes. The lime in the lime cheesecake really helps you digest the fats in the cheesecake. Anytime you're eating heavier, richer foods, which Vata people may need, they need to increase their digestibility of those heavy foods, and limes can help in that case. Plus, limes add a refreshing burst of flavor, and that's nice. Make sure you're getting lots of organic, fresh, seasonal vegetables. And Ayurveda does emphasize eating in tune with the seasons, but remember that some foods mimic the season and some foods defend against the season, and you have to be careful which one you pick. You can't just say, oh, this food ripens in this time of year, therefore I should eat it this time of year. That's an oversimplification, because I've noticed this with herbs and plants that they go either one of two ways. That they either are defensive against the climate, or they kind of go along with the climate. And what you want in Ayurveda is opposite medicine, right? Like if it's dry, you want to have moist. So you want to make sure that the seasonal eating you're doing is from plants that are defending against the season, not kind of going along with it. Let me give you an example. Let's take the example of tumbleweed and cactus growing in the desert. Cactus is this succulent that has worked really hard to stay moist despite the desert. And that is an example of a food that is opposite to the nature of the climate. Tumbleweed, on the other hand, is dry as a bone. They tumble all around. They're just so vata, just like the desert. They're just dry. They're as dry as the desert. So you're not going to think, oh, tumbleweed is a remedy for living in the desert. No, it's not. The succulents are, like the cactus. So this happens with a lot of different herbs and plants. Some ripen, and you should eat them then. Some ripen, and you should eat them in the exact opposite time of year that they ripen. Just look around. Just pay attention to that nuance, okay? I stock a lot of on-the-go food in my kitchen. As hard as I try to live that relaxing Ayurvedic lifestyle, serene, peaceful lifestyle, I also have kids, a family, my wife, and we have lots of dreams, and even just enjoying one another's company. And sometimes it does get in the way of the perfect Ayurvedic cooking. And so I like to have a lot of staples around, just to make sure that in a pinch, I'm not going to be, forced to get Chinese takeout or something, which I mean I don't do, but I just these are time savers and help you in a pinch. Nuts and seeds, nut butters, hummus, avocado, yogurt, cheese, rice cakes, bread, pita bread, tortillas, fresh fruits, veggies like carrots and celery, etc., etc. There's lots of examples of this, but you just want to keep enough on-the-go food around so that you're safe in a bout of hunger. And that should be good to get you started with stocking your Ayurvedic pantry.